Hi, I'm Angela McCurdy here with the Todd Schroth Home Selling Team, and I am here today with Laurence Heisler with the mortgage firm, and we just wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about this program called the Hometown Heroes Program. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the program came out last year, and the whole idea of the program, now this is a state of Florida program,
Okay.
was to help our heroes to be able to buy. So basically, there's 4 categories of what we consider to be heroes.
Yes, tell us about the heroes.
Sure. So it's anybody who's in law enforcement. It's anybody who is a military veteran. It's anybody who is in education. And then anybody that's in the medical profession as well. And when I say anybody, it's specific to certain job titles.
Right.
So it's not going to be every single person, but most people that work in those industries are going to be able to qualify for this program.
That's fantastic, especially after coming off of COVID and stuff, where all of these people were heroes. I mean, they're heroes all the time, but I'm sure that's very helpful for them at this time.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of challenges in our market with buying a home in general.
Yeah.
And then to put on top of that, the ability for somebody to save a good chunk of money for a down payment and a closing cost is also a challenge. Right. That's where this program really is helping these heroes. What it does is if they qualify for the program, it's going to give them up to $25,000 that they can use for the down payment and the closing costs.
Nice.
In some cases, we're seeing these heroes be able to buy a home without anything out of their own pocket.
Yeah. That's fantastic, especially with the way interest rates are right now and the economy overall. So this is a really good time for them to have this, make it more affordable for them to buy a house.
Yeah, and the program comes with its own interest rates. And what we're finding is that the interest rates on this particular program are averaging about 0.5 to 0.75% less than the going market rate for that exact program.
Oh,
so
that's even another bonus to it.
Yeah, so they're able to keep their payments lower. It helps them qualify for more of a house. And then they're getting that assistance that they can use. Now, I do want to explain the assistance. They do have to pay it back. Okay. However, there's no interest on that money that they're receiving.
Okay.
So there's no additional payment on that. Just when they go to sell the house, or if they refinance years later, they'll pay that loan off that they had received from the state.
Right. So is it still a standard conventional loan, or?
Yeah. So the cool thing about this program is we can couple it with any loan program that we offer.
Okay.
So if the client qualifies for conventional or FHA, or if they're a veteran and they qualify for VA, then we're just going to piggyback this program on top of that. So it gives us a lot of flexibility to work with pretty much any clients that we normally would work with.
What's about the maximum amount of money they can get for this?
Whatever the maximum is for the program they qualify for.
Okay.
So if it's conventional, they can go up to $722,000 now.
Wow, that's a lot of house.
Yeah, and now there's a credit score minimum.
Okay.
It has to be 640 or better. Okay. Now, what we're doing with a lot of clients, and I think this is an important thing to point out to your clients, is it's important to look at their credit right away.
Right, get the process started.
Yeah, and what we're finding is that a lot of clients pull their own credit. Most everybody these days has a Credit Karma account, or their credit card or their bank might show them what their credit score is.
Yeah.
But that's a consumer model credit. It's not a mortgage model. Our model is different, and our scores tend to be different than what they're going to see online.
Okay.
So we like to pull a mortgage credit report, and let's actually see what we're working with as quickly as possible. What's cool about when we pull credit is we have a built-in tool that enables us to be able to show a client how much their scores can improve by maybe just doing a couple things to their credit.
Right.
So if we share that with them, and maybe we can get them from a 630 up to a 640, or maybe we can even get them higher.
Then you can get them ready.
Which will help them qualify for better rates, for better different loan programs. So it all kind of goes.
So even if they're not looking to buy right now, it's good to get the process started, because first of all, let's even back up real quick. How much money is in reserves for this? How long will that last?
Yeah, great question. So initially there was $100 million set aside. They've already burned through $50 million of that.
Okay, so it's been a successful program already.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's helped a lot of home buyers in the state of Florida. How long is the $50 million going to last?
Yeah.
I mean, we're 6 months or so into this program, so we're anticipating another 6 months.
Okay, so they do need to get started now, like getting their pre-approval ready, knowing all of that's going to help them determine what price point they're going to be,
That's
when they buy the house anyway. So even if their lease isn't up for a month or two, get the process started now, have that opportunity to find the right house and time it with, whatever your moving situation is. And still, hopefully the money will be there so you can, take advantage of this program.
Yeah, and we can't reserve the funds for them until they go under contract.
Gotcha. That was my next question.
Yeah, so if it takes, we can get a client pre-approved quickly. Okay. So if we have somebody who's ready to jump on the phone with us, we're going to get some information, we're going to get some paperwork from them. We give really strong pre-approvals, as you know. So once we get them pre-approved, you've got the green light to find them a house. But once we go through that process, then it's generally about a 4-month window that pre-approval is good for.
Okay.
Now, if we get to 4 months, then we're going to recheck their credit in some cases. We're going to, of course, get updated pay stubs or bank statements. And then we can refresh that pre-approval at that time. But again, even if somebody's buying, let's say 6 months or a year down the road,
right,
I would highly recommend that we have a conversation with them, and in some cases, maybe even pull credit now to see where they're at.
Well, it helps them determine what they might need to do before they can get fully pre-qualified. It helps you just plan out.
Yeah, and people don't know. A lot of people think they know exactly what's on their credit, and when we pull the credit report, we send it to them. And a lot of times they're like, whoa, I had no idea that this or that showed up on my credit. And it gives us a chance to address some of those things that might have their scores lower than they should be.
Right. And like any other loan program, you do need to get the pre-approval going because it's not just about credit. It's about your debt to income ratio, your job, your security, all of that. All of that goes into play when getting that. And same for this program.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always amazed at how many people haven't bought a house because they're just afraid to even get the process started.
Yeah.
And what they find out, and the feedback that I always get, is once they get started and we walk them through the process, they're like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
And so it's always refreshing, and especially working with heroes, because these are the people that are behind the scenes and are helping people. And now it's their turn to get some help. So
I think it's amazing that, the state of Florida has opened this program up to so many people. I mean, I have lots of friends that are in the medical field, teaching, that kind of thing. So it's so great that there's so many avenues for that for them. So
and just so you know, like, we have heroes from out of state that, as long as they're buying a home in Florida and they can keep their job, or
so they were a hero outside of the state, but now moving to Florida. A lot of people moving to Florida.
And even some jobs they're able to travel. Traveling nurses that can help, that can qualify to buy a home in Florida, even if they're working out of state a lot. So as long as it's
great
in Florida, we're good to go.
Yeah. So Laurence, when you say the medical field or teachers, like, can you be more specific about what types of professions really fall into that? Because you said there's hundreds, right? So
there's over 100.
Right. So can you go a little deeper about who would qualify for this?
Sure, absolutely. So let's take medical field, for instance.
Okay.
So we're looking at our nurses, we're looking at x-ray technicians, we're looking at dental hygienists, we're looking at doctors, we're looking at nurses. I mean, there's a lot of job titles.
A lot of it
go under. Schools, we're looking obviously at teachers.
Right.
We're also looking at the administrative staff and assistants, and then for anybody who was a veteran,
that was
regardless of what job they work, they're going to qualify for that.
All right, so the whole military veteran side of things as well falls into this program. Oh wow, that's fantastic.
And then law enforcement, we're gonna look for police officers. We're gonna look for
firefighters,
EMTs,
all of that.
First responders, the 911 call centers. Like, so there are over 100 different job titles that qualify for this program.
Wow, that's wonderful. So Laurence, speaking of all the professions, I wanted to just bring up, the deal that we did together with one of my clients. She was a travel nurse. She fell into this program. It worked great for her. She got into her first home and didn't have to bring any money to the closing table.
Yeah, it was her very first home she's ever bought.
Yeah.
And without this program, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Right. And she's a definite hero. I mean, think about all that she's had to do the last couple of years traveling, and, great hero right there for sure. So
yeah, these are the kind of the deals that we love to do. We just love to help people like her.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So if someone wants more information about the program, who do they need to call? What do they need to do?
Yeah. So if they contact you, then you can get them to me. Otherwise, my website is theheislerteam.com.
Okay.
It's Heisler. So it's theheislerteam.com. That's always a good place to reach out to me. And obviously anybody that's watching this video, I can tell you this, we're excited about this year because we've seen rates finally stabilizing.
That's great.
We're hearing the forecasters are saying that we're going to start to see rates even trickle down some.
Yeah.
So we in all likelihood, we'll get some good lower rates this year. And the market has stabilized for real estate, as you know.
Yeah.
We're not seeing those crazy prices. It's a great time.
It's a good thing for a buyer. Yeah, it's a good thing for a buyer right now because you're not as much competition right now to get a home. So even though the rate might be a little bit higher than where we were a year ago, you don't have that same competition of having to bid over price. And so that's really stabilizing everything. And it's still a good time for a buyer to get in and get what they're looking for at a good price.
Yeah. We've seen buyers that are getting the sellers in some cases to help out with some of the costs. And then if we can throw Hometown Heroes on top of that.
They come to the closing table with nothing. And move into their house.
Yeah.
That's a great program. Yeah. Well, if you would like a complete list of all of the eligible occupations that fall into this program, you can visit us at our website at tsheroesathome.com and get more information. We'd love to work with you.